And hello, hello, hello. Hey, this is the Levelist Woman, Maxine Phillips McKoy, coming to you live. I am so excited about today's guest. But before we get started, Levelist, it is about understanding your worth, advocating for yourself, and continuously succeeding on your own terms. We and this show is all about life strategies. The strategies that we had to put in place in order to help ourselves move forward. Let's pause for a moment because I want you to reach out to your friends, your family, your neighbors, your coworkers, and let them in and say, come on in. Join us tonight for this phenomenal cooking demonstration that we are going to be having and talking about lifestyle changes. Yes, lifestyle changes. I, as a life coach, there are so many different facets to life. I have this statement and this phrase that I use that says life or career, better yet, is a lifetime, but life is a strategy. That's right. That means everything we do in life, we must strategize for it. We must plan for it. We must pivot. We must make exceptions and changes because things are not going to always go the way we want them to go. That's why I have this platform to talk about life strategies. That's why I bring these phenomenal guests on so they can share strategies that they put in place that help them to overcome adversity, to help them to continue to move forward in their vision, to help them to share their knowledge, their talents, their abilities with us and with the world. So tonight, we are going to be talking about lifestyle changes. Lifestyle changes. I want you to grab paper and pencil or pen. I want you to grab your computers and have it in front of you so that you can be typing and writing. Or, you can always go back and listen to this. You can always go back and listen. And you can always invite others to listen with you. As we move forward and talk about lifestyle changes, I want to share with you a story. My story. My story where I almost lost my life. And it was all about eating. It was about the combination of foods, the ingredients, the preservatives, the hidden things that we don't even think about when we are ingesting them in the foods that we select to eat. I became ill one day. The room began to spin. I mean, my head felt like it was ready to explode. My heart started feeling like it was about to come burst through my chest. I was blacking out. I was losing all control of my body functions. It happened one day. I was able to regain, but then a week later, it happened again. And then 2 weeks later, it happened again. And I started asking myself, what's going on here? Why is this happening? My spirit guided me to start journaling the foods that I was eating. In this food journal, I discovered that I am allergic to preservatives. That's right, you heard me, preservatives. I did so much research on the ingredients, the packaged foods. Anytime I would purchase something, I read the labels. I started writing down what the ingredients were. Many of the things I couldn't even pronounce. But as I started diving deeper and deeper and deeper into this research, that's when I discovered that I am allergic to preservatives. I'm talking about nitrates. I'm talking about nitrites. I'm talking about sulfites, sulfates. I'm talking about anything that's related to MSG, monosodium glutamate. There's probably some of you sitting out there now not even realizing that you have why you have headaches. Or you think maybe it is because of stress, but you never think about it's related to the foods in which we eat. I had to wean myself away from all of these preservatives. Oh, yes. I would end up in the emergency room. My blood pressure 160, 180, over 100, 105, in stroke zone. And they're not even knowing what to do for me. But until I discovered that it was the foods that I was eating that was causing me to have this irregular heartbeat, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, and overweight. Yes, we don't realize that the ingredients in the foods in which we eat can cause so much havoc within our bodies. So tonight, I ask you to have family, have friends, have coworkers, have them to chime in right now and listen to what we are going to be discussing, the platinum nuggets that we are going to be sharing with you tonight. How do you talk about food combinations and how do you modify so that you're not having to give up those gourmet meals that you're used to preparing, but we can prepare them in a healthier way. Let me know where you are chiming in from. What country, what city, what state, what town. And as we start talking about the different lifestyle changes that we have made, you can make them too, but also share with us the lifestyle changes that you have put in place for yourself. Because all of this is a part of a life strategy. See, life strategies are not just about getting a job, but it's about keeping ourselves healthy. So I'm a holistic life coach. I coach to all parts of when it comes, I call it the body, the mind, spiritual, physical, mental, emotional. All of that makes you the person. But we must keep ourselves healthy in order to continue to move within our purpose and on this journey. So I would like to take this moment now to bring our guest, Elizabeth McNeil, to the stage. Come on in, Elizabeth.
Hey, Maxine.
Hey, how
Good to
are
see you.
you?
I'm doing great. Hope you are as well.
I am. I am so excited about all the wonderful things that we are going to be able to share with our viewing audience when it comes to lifestyle changes.
Absolutely.
I know
Absolutely.
I know you just heard my little mini story about what I had to do to modify in order to be here on this earth today. And it's been since 2015 when I discovered that I am allergic to preservatives. And in making that discovery, I mean, it has just been a lifestyle change for me, but also the people that I come in contact with and being able to share that story with them. So I know you have a story that you would like to share. So tell us just a little bit about who Elizabeth McNeil is.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, lifestyle changes are real life situations, and I truly have had several lifestyle changes. My journey begins way back when I turned 45 and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And went through that whole journey successfully. It's been 21 years now, and learned a lot about cancer and how to be a cancer killer. And one of the things that I had to do in my lifestyle was to totally get rid of the sugar. Now, I know that sounds like that's impossible, and it is quite a challenge because
Yeah.
the way foods are done today, it's all about the sugar. It's all about the sugar. So I truly had to go through and really be conscious about the sugar intake in my body. That was first and foremost, that was my first lifestyle change for sure, was getting rid of the sugar. And it was a challenge, but I was able to do some research about it and to flip what I was eating without the sugar. You just, when you know it's about life or death situations, you
Oh yeah.
do what is necessary. And so absolutely got acclimated to drinking my tea without sugar. Use a little bit of honey instead. No
Yes.
sugar. Raw sugar is not good. Now there are sugar derivatives that you can use today. Stevia is a form of sugar, of that raw sugar, and you can use it in moderation. There is also erythritol that they use. There's monk fruit that they use. So you have to be really conscious of what the sugar derivative is in the products that you are putting into your body.
Well, I like the fact that you talked about sugar starting out because one of the things that we must understand is that you're right, sugar is in so many of the products in which we
Mhm.
ingest, and it can be hidden. It can be hidden in different names, fructose, right? Sucrose,
Yes.
glucose, all of those things are sugar. You talked about raw sugar, you talked about honey, then we have maple syrup, we have that. It can be in the organic form. And then you have your regular cane sugar. So we have the raw sugar is usually more like a little, I call it a little brownish beige color, is but the cane sugar is usually more a white, pure, that it has been, I call it heated, treated. And
Hmm.
so we have to be careful about those type of sugars. So it's good that you just mentioned about sugar. So ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those platinum nuggets that you want to write down. When you talk about sugar, you have to understand the different types of sugar, and you also have to understand how it's going to impact you, because we're all individuals. What happens with one person's body because they ingest a certain type of sugar might not happen to another person. And one of the things, Elizabeth, I always say, know your body better than your doctor. It doesn't mean you don't go to the doctor. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Because when you go to the doctor, if you know your body, you're able to tell the doctor exactly what's going on. So that's why I always say, know your body better than the doctor.
Absolutely. And so you definitely, by knowing your body, you have to be the advocate for your body. And you definitely don't, you want to know what is actually going on in your body when you do certain things, when you put certain things in your food, into your body. And then that way you can give your doctor a very knowledgeable output of what is going on, and then he can work from there through your numbers, of course, through your blood work and your urine and samples and so on and so forth. But know your body and be an advocate for yourself, for sure. And you don't always have to um, do everything that they say all the time, because you have
Ooh.
to challenge them.
Wait. Hold up. That's a platinum nugget right there. Did you all catch that? Did you absolutely hear that? Your doctor is going to recommend things for you to do. And I love the fact that I just had my physical last week and they always say, well, this is going to be better for you. Based on what we understand, this is going to be the better choice for you. But again, you don't know your reaction. So Elizabeth just said, because your doctor said it, you can challenge them. When you challenge them, that means ask those informed questions, ask those thought provoking questions. And it's nothing, hey, they have the time to explain to you what it meant that they're suggesting. So just don't take face value and don't ask an additional follow up question. So, how would this affect me? What can I do? What's going to happen if I, use this particular medication? What are the side effects? Let them
Mhm.
go in and give you that information right then and there. And then you go home and research. You still have to do your due diligence and research it as well. All right. Sorry, I couldn't let that platinum nugget pass, Elizabeth.
Absolutely. I'm here for that because I definitely had to put the challenge up to my doctor because he wanted me to go on amoxifen for 5 years after they had totally removed the breast cancer lump in my breast, and they had done my numbers. There was no more cancer there. My margins were clean. I mean, I worked in the laboratory, so I knew all the ins and outs of what was getting ready to transpire. And so I challenged him and I said, if I were your wife, or if it were your wife in this situation with a 1% chance of cancer coming back, would you put her on tamoxifen for 5 years?
Wow. And the answer was?
No, he would not. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because this is 21 years later. I have a cousin who did do the tamoxifen and have had several episodes of other health issues side related to the drugs. So just know going in, be knowledgeable of what it is that they're asking you to put in your body and how it will affect your body. What are the percentages? What is going to happen in the end? What are the side effects? Because that's the bottom line, the side effects, for sure.
Wow, right. And of course the side effects are different for everyone. And then with those side effects, make sure that when you do receive that medication, there is a description of the medication that comes along with it. It's usually what a staple to the medication, and the pharmacist give this to you. Read it. Find out and understand what happens should you have an allergic reaction. You need to understand that too. Not only the side effects, but the allergic reaction that the body goes through once it's ingested. So, yeah, so make sure you do that. All right. So, with lifestyle changes, give us some of the gold, the platinum nuggets that you have used to make some of these lifestyle changes. I know as a diabetic, I'm a type 2 diabetic, and I had to make these lifestyle changes, which helped me to be removed from all diabetic medications. So tell us some of the things that you put in place as far as your life strategies.
And so the saga goes on. So I'm 21 years past cancer, and now I come up with all of us. We're talking about this gut thing and all this gut stuff, and it's like the gut is the new brain. But being a biologist, the brain is the key to life. It is the functionality of the entire spinal cord. It sends the messages throughout the body. And so it is so important that now you understand your body, understand that you now have to make sure that the flora in the gut is correct, is well balanced. And so what I did in November of 2019, I did a total gut reset with my doctor.
Okay.
Total gut reset. I'm so here for that. It was with my doctor. It was a 90-day challenge. So I had an accountability partner as well. And we had different platforms that we had to follow. And these are the key factors that you have to take into account when you do a total gut reset. You have to make sure that what you're going to clean out the gut, but you have to do these things. You have to give your body the rest that it needs. And that is a minimum of 7 hours. And the reason why I say a minimum of 7 hours, because what happens when you lay the body down for rest, you then allow the cell cycle to do what it's supposed to do. And it's a 7-hour journey for cell regeneration. And when with these super people, and I know life is hard, it is a challenge. We have children, we have places to go and be, and we have the rest that it needs. An S on your chest. I know life. Truly, what you need to do is really think about what are you doing when you're only giving your body 4 hours of sleep. The cell then cannot totally mature through its life cycle of the 7 hours. And so what you're doing is you're knocking your immunity down. You're hurting your body's immunity system by not allowing yourself the proper rest. You need the proper rest. That's first and foremost. Once you get that established, you then need water. Water is essential to life. You have to drink the water. You have to drink the water. And you have to drink the water if particularly your goal would be half your body weight in ounces a day. And so let's just say you weigh 100 pounds. So you want to drink at least 50 ounces of water a day. And the reason being is because now you will flush out the toxins. You will flush out the toxins. You'll flush out the gut. You'll flush out the toxins in the gut lining that are harmful to you. And what are toxins? Toxins are anything, just things that are bombarding the body. Toxins can come from the body lotion that you put on your body. Truly, the food that we take in. If you're not doing the organic foods, the pesticides that they put on the foods, those are toxins that they put into your body. Preservatives are toxins that you put into your body. Your hair wash, the things that you take in. So it's so important that you definitely drink the water. Flush the toxins out of your body. So you have to drink the water and you have to get the rest. And then my third that I'm like crazy about is movement. Movement is essential to life. You have to put in the movement. You have to put in the movement. That will get your heart rate up. And that heart rate up is what helps the body bring that more oxygen into the bloodstream, which helps clean out the body as well. So it's so important that you put movement into your body. And I'm talking 30 minutes a day.
Right.
You can break that up to 15 in the morning and 15 in the afternoon, but you have to move your body to the point where you are elevating your heart rate. Elevating your heart rate. So movement is essential.
That is so good. You just listed 3 things. Awesome. I mean, the movement, I had a lymphologist on about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that was one of the things she talked about was movement. And some people do trampolines, but she says just a matter of bouncing. If nothing else, just bounce. Make sure you get that lymphatic system going and get it cleansed out and everything. I was just telling my doctor last week, and I'm like, yeah, I know everything, all my test results came back normal. Everything is in normal range and so forth. But I still need to add exercise because the heart is a muscle. And you have to keep that heart strengthened. And I know that that runs in my family. And knowing that runs in my family, that's even more reason why you have to be conscientious of it. So you just gave us those three platinum nuggets. You gave us water, you gave us movement, and what was the very first one?
Rest. You have to get your rest. 7 hours minimum rest.
Wow, rest. Just like, and some nights I don't get in bed till about 11 or 12 o'clock, and then I spring up like I'm a spring chicken, right? About 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And hearing you say that, and the other thing that I heard about rest was the fact that from a diabetic perspective too, you need it. You just need it general in life, but also you need it in order to what you just talked about, allow the body to rejuvenate itself overnight so that the cells can be replenished, because they die off and they need to be replenished. And then having that water in your system help to flush out all of those impurities. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not flush those impurities out of the system, they are floating around in your bloodstream. And that's what you do not want. You do not want that constantly going through the bloodstream, because it's hitting all those organs, your brain, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your pancreas. It's hitting all of those things that you have to help the liver to purify and detox the body. And water will help that to happen. All right. So that's awesome. Great platinum nuggets. Did you all write those down? You just never know. We might be giving a little quiz at the end. So you have to pay attention, invite others in. So Elizabeth, I know that you have come prepared to do some cooking tonight. What do you have for us? What's the first dish?
The first dish that we're going to do tonight is going to be a honey garlic meatball. But before that, before we actually jump into that dish, quickly let's go into a little bit of the nutritional factor. Nutrition
Oh,
is so important. Today, in today's society, they have done such a unjust situation with this diet craze. And it's really not about diet, it's really about what it is that you put in your body. And foods have been labeled as good or bad. I challenge you to change that to power foods and pleasure foods. Power foods are foods that give you the nutritional value to sustain life. Pleasure foods give you absolutely nothing but joy. Okay?
say zero.
They give you zero, but they give you joy. And so it is so important to have the balance, that life balance of power foods and pleasure foods, and not mingle on one over the other, but make sure that you are putting power foods and pleasure foods into your body. And so what I've begun to do is find foods, that cook foods that are good foods, real food, real fast. I try to get from my stove top to my table in 20 minutes or less. And so it is, and that's so important, especially in our lifestyles today. And so I found a product that is very clean. On the ingredients list of it all, there's no more than 5 to 7 ingredients. Once you start looking at your labels, if you have more than 7 ingredients, you might want to try something different, because the rest of it is just fluff and just going to add to the toxins and the fat in the body. So you don't want to do that. You want to really be conscious of what it is on the ingredients list of what you are putting in your body. So the first thing that we're going to do is it's an Epicure product, and it's called the honey garlic meatballs. Now, because of time, I already went and made the meatballs. And then I actually went and also made the gravy for the meatballs. So let me take them out of the oven.
So while you're doing that, I want to echo what Elizabeth just said. Pleasure foods are power foods. So did you get that nugget? You must write that down, because many times I know when we get stressed, we're looking at those pleasure foods. But we need to maybe look at balancing out and make sure that we put some power foods there too, because that's what's going to give us those nutritional values that we need. Oh, there we go. We got some meatballs.
Yeah, so we got some meatballs, and all I did was actually put a bit of the seasoning with the meatballs, rolled them into little, like 2 tablespoons of meat sauce, and rolled them into these meatballs, and then put them down into this wonderful glazed honey garlic sauce, which is kind of thickened itself. And you just roll these meatballs down in there.
Well, how about showing us at least one of the meatballs as you doing it, because we're not able to see them. Okay, excellent. All right,
There's the
excellent.
meatball. So that's a 2 tablespoons. Um,
Ladies and gentlemen, remember, your meatballs, you can use what different types of meats that you're going to use. Some people use the vegan, and some people use turkey, and some people use the beef. So it depends on what you
right.
want to. Right. Oh, that looks good.
So you have a nice gravy there, and you roll those meatballs in this gravy. This gravy has, just so you'll know, this gravy has an organic sugar in it. It has a coconut, organic cane, and it has cornstarch, garlic, and salt and sea salt, a little bit of sea salt. So that's what that is. And so this dish you can then put on rice, but you have options. You can do the turkey, you can do ground turkey, and also do the meatballs. This is a beef meatball with the gravy. And what I've chosen to actually add to that is some, rather than rice, I'm going to put some butternut spaghetti squash. I had spaghetti
Okay.
squash, so I'm going to add some spaghetti squash to that. I'm going to turn that back on and let that simmer just a little bit. Now you can take and do your spaghetti squash. And then once you've done it, because this is actually when I do a spaghetti squash, I'm just here by myself. So I actually freeze it. So it doesn't go to waste. I actually freeze what I don't use. And that's what this is was left over. This was the spaghetti squash that's left over. So it's kind of like a spaghetti and meatballs. But instead of using pasta, because pasta is not in my diet, I use the spaghetti squash instead. So that's our first dish. I'm going to turn that back on low.
So that's an ingredient in lieu of a pasta. Use the spaghetti squash, and also I'm thinking zucchini might work. Might work because I like zucchini.
It's funny you should say zucchini. I have a trick for you tonight. The next dish that I'm going to do is called a chicken fried rice. We're going to twist the rice into spaghetti. We're going to use the zucchini, and we're going to use a spiralizer. Very simple. You just take your zucchini and you just spiralize it out. Can you see that?
Yep, I see it coming through.
It comes through. It'll be one continuous circle of spaghetti noodles, but it'll be zucchini noodles without the pasta, without that pasta intake. And it'll be more healthy for you. And it takes on the flavor of the chicken sauce that I'm going to tell you about in a second. I'm going to also, so I want you to be creative when you make your meal. So if I'm not doing pasta, then I'm going to use these vegetables, these zucchini and the spaghetti to get my pasta in. And so that's my pasta dishes. So that's how I get my pasta in. And that spiralizer, once that's done, it's one continuous circle. So you want to cut it up. We have one more that we'll do. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to have so much, I'm going to have to freeze it. And these are really nice. So you have these meals that you make, and then you freeze them for another date. So all of my containers are, I can freeze them. I can put them in the microwave, and then I can put them in the dishwasher, which I love. So that's what is good about these particular dishes.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So then here's your zucchini.
Beautiful, beautiful,
right?
Beautiful.
So I've already I had some 2 chicken breasts that I cut up into small bite-sized pieces, and I already put them on. Cook them just a little bit with a little bit of olive oil. I'm then going to add the seasoning. I'll tell you a little bit about this seasoning. So this seasoning it's garlic, organic coconut palm sugar, turmeric powder, organic apple cider vinegar powder, chives, ginger, and inactive nutritional yeast, and chilies.
Okay, all right.
And so that makes a nice gravy.
About if you have more than 5 or 6 ingredients, then be concerned. And plus, you need to be able to pronounce the ingredients that's on the package. And always read the label. Always read your ingredients. Look at how many, the sugar content, the sodium content, the glucose content, which is the carbohydrates, and it normally give you how many grams in each package.
Yes. And then also, know your options. You have options out there, especially if you're vegan. You can do your tofu for a different consistency. Instead of like a chicken bite, you can do the thicker tofu for sure. So then I've added my seasoning in there. It smells wonderful. Gonna heat that back up again. And then I'm just gonna add some mushrooms. I have a thing for mushrooms. I like the consistency of them. And I just like mushrooms in my food. And then it also said to add some coleslaw, but I didn't have any. So I used what I had in my fridge, and that was some bok choy. So I put some bok choy in there. So I have a little bit of green. That's what that looks like so far. You can see that. And then I'm going to add my zucchini noodles. And then I'm going to turn this all back on a low heat and just let it simmer and let all those flavors just marinate through that.
And so about how long shall we let it simmer?
This should simmer for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
On a low, I have them both on a low setting. So they simmer for 20 minutes. And these can be what you don't eat, your leftovers. Get you some freezer bags, Ziploc bags, label them, put what you're not going to eat inside of them, and freeze them for another date. That is what is so good about when you do your food prep, because I do food prep, and that's how I make it through, because a lot of times we don't have time to cook or we don't feel like cooking. So I have all kinds of stuff in my freezer, and it's all labeled and marked. So it's
so there's another golden nugget. I mean, or a platinum nugget. So as you do your food, you're going to make more than just one serving. And so because you're going to make extra, that's even more reason to double. You could almost double the ingredients and prepare to put it in the freezer for a later date. I know that's what I did when my children were growing up. I would cook over the weekend. I would cook 3 or 4 dishes, and then I would have everything ready for the week. I do that now for myself, and I put things in the freezer in serving size, and that way I can take it out. I'm not having to unthaw all of it, but only unthaw what I'm going to actually eat in that meal. So that's another platinum nugget: is as you're prepping, then prep for weeks to come. Because I'm assuming it's going to last in the freezer. I know mine can last anywhere up to at least a month.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And then the Ziploc bag, you could just cut it open, put it in a foil, and put it in your oven, because I don't use microwave. So I have a cookware, silicone cookware that they're steamers, and they just heat up anything that I have. So I can put that frozen in the steamer, put it in the oven at 350 for 20 minutes, and there's my meal. So reheating is, having these leftovers is key factor, and a time saver as well in the kitchen, for sure.
Well, you just gave another platinum nugget, and that you just stated that you do not choose to use the microwave. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the microwave can have havoc on the body, because there's, you have waves, that's coming through the microwave when you heat your foods. And depending on what containers you use to heat the food in can also be a problem. You don't want to heat food in the microwave in plastic. So you want to stay away from that. So if at all possible, I love the fact that you say put it in the oven to heat it, or you can put it back into the dish on the stove, and then you can heat it that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
All right. What else do we have? These yummy, yum, yum, yum. I wish I had some of this in front of me so I could just taste it. I'm smelling it already. So next go round, I'm gonna have to be in the kitchen cooking with you, so I can be like the other Food Network, where they munching on, say, and the flavors are coming through. They're popping through.
Yes, it is very good. So let me give you another tip, and this is with the mind, because this is all also about the mindset of it all, the mindset of being healthy, the mindset of sitting down to a meal. And I teach this in a course, and one of the things that I label this as attentive eating. This is vital to good self-care. Attentive eating. So what does that mean? That means that once you have your food prepared, you want to be sitting in an area at your table, in an area with no digital devices. No digital devices. So the digital devices are a distraction. So there should be no digital devices at the place where you are taking up your meal. And the taking up of your meal starts at when you are actually plating your food onto your plate. You want to get into the smells of it all, like you mentioned, the colors, the consistencies of it all. And when you plate up that food and you go to sit down, I just want you to just sit a moment prior to indulging into the food itself and just look at what you have before you, take in the smells. And then as you eat, you want to eat attentively. You want to put those foods into your mouth. You just want to feel the textures into your mouth as you're chewing and absorbing and then just swallowing the food. And the reason why I said this is so vitally important, because a lot of people, especially young people, eating on the run, just going about so fast and just thinking that they're eating. And but the thing of it is, the mind is trying to move your feet to get you where you're going, and it never processes the fact that there's digestion that needs to go on. So a lot of times people tend to overeat or undereat. And so it's so important that you be attentive to what it is that you're doing. You're eating your food, you're sitting down, you're in conversation, even in conversation. No digital devices, because what that means is then the brain then says, oh my goodness, guys, get ready. Juices, get ready. We're getting ready to partake in nutrition, and the body can then begin the digestion process. That's why a lot of times your mouth starts to water when you see
Mhm.
something that you really want to eat. And that's because that's the digestion of it all that's taking process. And so it's so vitally important, because a lot of times as I teach this, most of the young people say, I got fuller faster than I thought. And I never really um, tasted the food like that. True testimony. This summer, I had a young person who had COVID. Now, I'm not a doctor. I just know what this young woman said to me. She says, she messaged me and she says, I'm in the middle of the attentive eating. This was a week we were doing attentive eating. And she had had COVID and she'd lost her taste. And so she
Wow.
couldn't taste her food. But this particular week, because she was attentively eating the meal, sitting down, no digital distractions, she could taste the food. She could taste the food. Now, was she retraining her mind for the food? But she was able to taste the food. And this was like amazing to me, because I was like, I know it works. I know it works. I've tried it. I've tried it in front of a digital platform and away from a digital platform. When I do in front of a digital platform, my food does not digest well. So I encourage you to really be attentive eating when you are eating your foods. It is so important to take that nutrition into the body so the body can take on and do all that's necessary in order to digest the food that you're giving it.
Oh, wow. Again, all these platinum nuggets. Be attentive when you're eating. Allow yourself to eat, and also allow yourself to chew the food so that the food can be digested with the saliva that the body is actually making in order for it to digest properly. The other thing about what you just said, Elizabeth, is the tongue. You have the taste buds on the tongue itself. And when you're eating healthy and clean, then your palate totally changes. You can appreciate the food. You can especially you'll taste the sugar, you'll taste the salt, you'll taste the seasonings. All of those are well pronounced when the palate has been cleansed. And that's
Mhm.
through the healthy eating, the raw eating, the organic eating, and it just changes your whole way. I remember when I switched from packaged foods to
Mhm.
organic food. I
Mhm.
mean, everything tastes sweeter. It was more defined. You did
Yeah.
not have to worry about it tasting artificial. And then when I did eat something artificial, I knew it immediately because of the taste buds. So your taste buds and your palate changes as you start changing with the lifestyle changes that you're making.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
excellent, excellent, excellent.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So what other? Okay. Any more platinum nuggets? Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions? What questions we would like to ask Chef Elizabeth? She doesn't deem herself that way. I'm just giving her that name for tonight. She's our chef right here. So okay, they said the okay. We talked about look like some technical difficulties that's been going on, but see
Yeah,
if you have any
definitely.
questions.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that let us know if you have any questions. Let me know who's here. I have Rhonda Radford Castleberry, and Rhonda
Yes.
has been with us. So thank you, Rhonda, for joining in and for tuning in. If you have any questions, let me know. She admitted that she does not get enough sleep. And you're not the
Yes.
only one, Rhonda. There are plenty
Yes.
of us in that same shoe with you.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
All
It's
right.
definitely.
So that's okay. Go ahead.
So it's definitely a mindset. All of this, all of these things work all together to create a healthy lifestyle. So this is what we call good self-care and good mental health care, which is so vitally important in today's situation. It's so important that we take on and love ourselves enough. Love
Yes.
ourselves enough to get the rest. Love ourselves enough to put the right nutrition in. Love ourselves enough to do the movement that's necessary, raise the heart rate. Another thing that when we talk about the diet situation of it all, and it's really not about when you think people say, well, I'm going to fast and I'm going to skip a meal and I'm going to do this and that. Know that metabolism then changes. If you are skipping meals, your body is holding on to whatever you're giving it because it knows that you're not going to feed it again. So it's so vitally important that you have 3 meals a day. 3 meals a day, your morning meal, your midday meal, and your evening meal. You can snack in between with healthy foods, but before you do, drink some water. Because a
Hmm.
lot of times when you drink the water, the urge to snack goes away. Sometimes when you think you're hungry, drink the water and you'll be surprised. It's really not being hungry. Your body needs the water. Your body needs the water. So it's so vitally important that you take in all of these um, things to make sure that you are giving yourself the best of the best. And also, I did learn too that anytime that you can increase your activity to the point where you drop your resting heart rate by a beat, that gives you more life on the other side, on the end of it
Right.
all. So,
You talked about that 3 meals a day. One of the things that I did back in 2015 when I started becoming conscious of the lifestyle changes that I need to make in order to become healthier, I started eating every 3 hours. And when I say I ate every 3 hours, I didn't eat no full meal every 3 hours. I
mhm,
ate something nutritional every 3 hours. So what
mhm,
I ended up training my body was the fact that I was never hungry and I never had to be full. Because
mhm,
many times we overeat because we're so used to being full, having that full feeling, and we don't know what the sad to be satisfied actually is.
right,
So I started eating every 3 hours and then drinking the water. And as
mhm,
a result, I ended up dropping like 70 or 80 pounds, and it had nothing to do with a diet, no diet whatsoever. And I didn't do a whole lot of exercises. I did exercise, but not, I mean, not to the extent that a lot of people do. But so what I'm saying is that if you start eating nutritionally and it's for a lifestyle and you put a balance to it and you
mhm,
get away from having that full feeling, having to be full, because what we end up doing is literally stretching our stomachs without realizing it. But once you eat, and you eat to be satisfied, then the stomach start reducing itself because you're no longer having, it's no longer being stretched, and that capacity has not increased, is decreasing more so than anything. So that
Mhm.
was one of the things that helped me when I started taking into consideration, what am I going to do to add a strategy that's going to help me to become healthier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. So as we see, we have about 6 minutes. So I don't know if that's enough time for you to talk about the next dish, or if you'd like to just go on and give us some more platinum nuggets.
Well, that's all. Well, my dishes are simmering, so they're. I have to decide which one I'm going to eat, though. But, and they smell
That's a nice
amazing.
problem to have. That's a nice problem to have.
Yes,
Sure.
they actually smell amazing, and they look rather pretty for sure.
So, all
So
right.
I
So hopefully
always,
hopefully you'll be able to plate it and let us see what it actually, will look like if you have time. That would be nice. All
yes.
right. So one of the things that I learned along the way, you talked about water and the importance of water.
Mhm.
I did not like water initially. And so I had to train my body to like water. And one of the things that I did is I would infuse it with a fruit, such
Mhm.
as maybe a grape, because I liked grapes, or during
Mhm.
the summertime, I will put just a cube or two of watermelon in it to get that
Mhm.
melon taste, or you could put lemon in it or lime in it, and that acts as an alkaline. And so there's
Mhm.
things that we can do that can help us appreciate water. And then I have a filter on the refrigerator. I did not like the water just out of the regular, faucet, but
Right.
you can also get one of those pitchers that have a
Mhm.
filter on it, and have filtered water. So there's different things that you can do in order to appreciate water. But one of the things that I want to make note to about water is when you purchase the bottled water, also look on the back of the water and see what ingredients are actually in that water. You'll be surprised that
Mhm.
many of the waters that we're drinking, we don't realize that there are ingredients in it as well. And it might not be as nutritional to your body as you think it is. So that's another thing you want to do, is look at the ingredients on the water bottles, the water that you're drinking. What
Yeah,
do you
that's
say?
that's a good point. I use RO water. I don't use the water from the tap, and so I'm very particular about my water. And then I use a high alkaline water to help my
Mhm.
body stay
Stay
hydrated.
hydrated. Mhm.
And so that's a take on the water of it all. But yes, water is a challenge, and it's like you said, if you add something to it, if you add some lemons or something, like you can add cucumbers, you can add berries, you can add whatever has a light taste in it, and just add that to it, and that will help get the water down. But it's even a pretty mug or a pretty water bottle or something that just will encourage you to drink water. Just the glass itself might be something that will help you uh, be more mindful of the intake of the water that you drink.
And the last thing that, as we get start closing, but with water, I also, summer is almost over with. So, but it's not good to, sometimes we buy the case of water and we'll just put it in our trunk and leave it,
Mhm.
and then we feel like we
Yeah.
have to. That way, we're preparing ourselves to have water on hand, and that's the last thing you want to do, is put that water in your trunk and leave it, because remember, it's getting hot in the car, and water could be boiling, and that's not good. So just be mindful of that. And it's better to probably use a glass container than a plastic container when you're talking about making lifestyle changes. So those are some other golden nuggets that platinum nuggets we'd like to leave with you. So look like we have a dish is being plated. And is this
Yes.
the zucchini, or is this the
This
spaghetti squash?
this is the zucchini noodles, and this is, rather than using the chicken fried rice, I have the chicken. Remember, I added my mushrooms, and I added the bok choy because I didn't have coleslaw, so I added the bok choy, and it is quite um, colorful.
Looks good. Looks good. Looks good.
Yes, bon appetit for sure.
Well, thank you.
Definitely.
So I would love for you to take a picture of that so we can then post it
Absolutely.
afterwards. And then maybe you give us some of the ingredients that you used in that way. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like for you to try it. This is all about application as well. So now that you've learned some lifestyle changes, share with us. What are your takeaways? What are you going to start doing differently as a result of you hearing this phenomenal information this evening? So, Elizabeth, as we close, what will be your final comments?
My final comments would be that I challenge you. We're getting ready to come up on the end of 2021. I challenge you to fall in love with yourself, to love yourself enough to get the rest. So important. Drink the water. So important. For sure, do the movement. Raise the heart rate. I do a high intensity training 3 times a week, and it has totally changed my body type. And so I encourage you, find an exercise program, find a yoga, find Pilates, find something that gets some movement into your body. Challenge yourself. If you get into the habit now, come the first of the year, you'll be in motion. And look what you will bring into 2022.
Yeah.
Habits that will definitely bring about a lifestyle change for you personally. Why? Because you love yourself enough.
Wow. 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 You love yourself enough. You believe in you. And it is about a lifestyle change. It is not about you going on a diet, is not about you trying to do what the next person does. Is about what works for you and what works for your body. And remember, we talked about know your body. And in
Mhm.
knowing your body, write things down. Make a
Mhm.
note of what's going on with your body. So, in the event that when you have that sit down conversation with your doctor, you're not having to remember when it happened. You're not having to remember exactly what happened, but you have a record of it and you've recorded
Mhm.
it as it happened. So, keep your little journal on the things that you need to talk to your doctor about. And as they happen, write them down. As they pop into your mind, write them down. And also, as Elizabeth just told us, read the ingredients. You want to know what ingredients are you going to be using and what's in the particular items that you're using in order to create the dish that you're going to be ingesting. And you have an opportunity for options. You have choices. So make choices. Instead of potatoes, you could have the pasta. If you can't eat the whole wheat pasta, or you have brown rice pasta. If you don't want the brown rice pasta, then you are going to then use maybe the zucchini, spaghetti or the squash spaghetti. So there's so many different options that you have out here that you can still enjoy the meals that you're accustomed to having. You're just changing out the ingredients for something healthier to help the body. And the body will repair itself if we give it an opportunity. And Elizabeth just told us rest is one of the things that we need in order to buy for the body to rejuvenate itself overnight. Give it an opportunity. And I know I'm guilty of not many times resting enough. So I have to get back into I heard something about allow your body to wake up naturally opposed to having to use an alarm clock, and then it's on a rhythm. It has a rhythm that you're getting yourself into, so take that into consideration as well. Well, Elizabeth, I
And
see that your
also,
contact
one other thing, Maxine, that you could do. Sometimes we have a restless night and we wake up and we just can't get back to sleep. Journal, do a brain dump. Do a brain dump in a journal and dump whatever's in your mind down into a journal, and that will help you get back to sleep. Clear your
oh,
mind. Yeah.
I am a big stickler when it comes to journaling, and journaling it definitely helps with that because your mind is racing and it has so much on it, and what it's trying to do is retain it so you don't forget it the next day. But if you were to write it down, then the brain can relax. and
Mhm.
then allow yourself to go back to sleep. Well, listen,
Yes.
we're out of time, but I thank you so much for this opportunity to not only have you as a special guest, but also learn from you and all these lifestyle changes that you've made and look at the beautiful you. We
Thank you.
appreciate you to the utmost. Hey, this is not the last time we'll see you. We'll have you back because I know there's more to come. And I just know people are going to be reaching out to you. And there you is running, it's going across the banner, Spice Diva Elizabeth at gmail.com. Spice Diva Elizabeth at gmail.com. So as we close, this is Maxine Pearl Phillips McKoy, the levelist lady, wishing you a great evening. I will see you next week at the same time, same station. And you never know who we are going to have. So you need to come back. I believe in you. I trust you believe in yourself. And I also believe that you have gifts that you can share with the world. So don't hide behind them, share them. Until next time, have a great evening.